The video played on a loop. My son, 8 years old, kneeling over a toilet that wasn't his, scrubbing until his small hands turned pink. The caption beneath, teaching my stepson the value of work since his father never did. I watched it twice, then 3 times. Each replay carved another line inside my chest. He sent me a message next, just one sentence. I'm going to unleash hell on your son. I didn't respond, not because I couldn't, because I didn't want him to see my hands shake. On the surface, silence. Underneath, something colder than rage began to assemble itself. Pieces of a plan, a scaffold of control. The same discipline that kept me alive in darker places than this man could imagine. My ex-wife had remarried a man who liked cameras. He filmed everything, his meals, his workouts, his petty humiliations of a boy who wasn't his. He liked to show off what he could control. I had left her 3 years earlier. Court orders, custody agreements, words like visitation carved my weekends into neat blocks. I told myself she would protect him, but people like her always find someone worse to fill the silence. In public, she smiled. In private, she let him post the videos. I could read it in her eyes, the same look she used to give me when she thought I'd lost my edge. She liked men who could hurt without bruises. I replayed every conversation we'd had over the last 6 months. Every time she'd cut a phone call short. Every vague answer about discipline. I saw now what she hadn't said. It wasn't discipline, it was domination. I didn't storm their house. I didn't call the police. I built a case. I collected each video, downloaded the metadata, cross-referenced timestamps with my custody schedule, hired a digital forensic analyst I'd used once in Syria. At night, I watched my son's face on the screen, not crying, just blank, like he'd already left his body. I knew that look. That's how survival starts. I spoke to the school counselor under the guise of a routine check. She confirmed the signs: withdrawal, silence, sudden stomach aches on Sundays. Her eyes flickered, but she didn't press. I bought a DNA kit for my son, packaged as a fun science project. He spit in the tube without question. I sent it off. Then I waited. The waiting was its own kind of war. Every breath felt like a lie I had to hold in my lungs. Outwardly calm, inside, every detail sharpening like a blade. The results arrived on a gray Tuesday morning. 2 envelopes, one with the forensic report on the videos, one with the DNA test. The videos were exactly what they looked like: coercion, verbal abuse, enough for charges if presented correctly. But the DNA? It slipped a blade between my ribs. My son wasn't biologically mine. Another man's blood. A secret she'd carried since before the divorce. A private betrayal layered under the public one. I stared at the report until the words stopped meaning anything. Then I folded it, placed it in a plain envelope, and drove to their house. When she opened the door, she smiled like she always did. Thin, performative. I handed her the envelope without a word. Inside, both reports. She flipped through them, her face draining of color. He came into the hallway, still holding his phone. He started to speak, then saw the papers, then saw me. Neither of them said a word. They didn't have to. I already knew. I didn't yell, didn't push. I just told them, softly, what was about to happen. Every file is backed up. Every agency you're afraid of already has copies. You'll never see him again. I watched her lips tremble, watched him finally lower his phone. All that swagger evaporating like sweat in winter air. Then I showed them the final page. The custody transfer agreement already drafted and notarized. All it needed were signatures. "You'll sign," I said, "or I press send." The silence afterward was a living thing. Her hand shook as she reached for a pen. He didn't even try to stop her. One signature, then another. Done. I walked out without looking back. The door stayed open behind me. My son sat in the car clutching his backpack. He didn't ask questions. Kids don't when they've already learned adults are dangerous. We drove in silence. Highway lights cut across his face in pale flashes. I saw his reflection in the window, small, fragile, waiting. I thought about the DNA report folded in my jacket pocket. The one truth he didn't need yet. Blood didn't matter. Protection did. Choice did. By the time we reached my apartment, I'd already burned the papers in my mind. What remained was him, alive, unbroken. I didn't feel triumph, didn't feel anything at all. Just the steady quiet of a plan executed cleanly. He fell asleep on the couch before I'd finished locking the door. I stood over him, studying the rise and fall of his chest. For the first time in years, I let the silence feel like safety. I whispered it, not for him, but for me. It's over. And it was. I had erased them without touching them, just as thoroughly and just as coldly as they deserved.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.